Well, hello and welcome to Bloomberg Quint. We're here to tell you how the markets fare today, and Agam, it was yet another day of very absolutely sluggish movement. In fact, the Nifty continued to trade within a very narrow 50-point range even today, to end about 14 points lower at 8139, so giving up that 8150 levels, but it's a loss of 1.5% or a good 120 odd points for the week. Market breadth, not surprisingly, negative at 2:3.
Again, when it comes to the futures and options space, we have seen selling in both the Nifty as well as the Nifty Bank, but given we haven't seen too much movement in the indices themselves, because the declines are not substantial.
Right.
We'll have to wait for the power copy to give us and throw us in numbers the kind of selling we have seen. There is no doubt that we have seen some kind of selling, but it's not been such a drastic day. Let's take a look at what's happened in the options market. Well, there's just one option which has been extremely active today, and that's the 7900 put, as you can see here. We've seen a substantial spike here, and this also means that we've seen more writing towards the 7900. Now, remember that a lot of analysts are also talking about that level being perhaps the strongest that we can see even as we move into trade for the month of December. But when it comes to the range for the Nifty for the December series, that remains within 300 points of 8,000 and 8,300.
If you talk about what really moved the benchmark Nifty 50 index, well, Tata Motors, Bharti Infratel, Infosys, iShares, TCS were some of the top gainers. Bosch also saw a good 1.5 to 2% rally after Rajasthan State Pollution Control Board withdrew their direction for the closure of company's Jaipur plant. Nevertheless, it gave up as much as half of its gains by the end. On the other hand, Hindalco led the metals lower. You also had Ultratech, Grasim, ACC, all these cement counters which were seeing continued weakness. Aurobindo Pharma you can't see here, but that recovered partially after hitting a 9-month low after the company said that its drug, which is glyburide, for which reports had stated that Aurobindo Pharma was one of those 6 companies that the US states had sued. It said that that drug contributed only $1 million to its sales in FY16, so that's less than 0.1% of their total sales. Hence, they wouldn't really be impacted materially, even if in the worst case scenario. That apart, Agam, how did the mid caps fare?
Well, in the broader markets, the advance decline ratio is 2 advances for 3 declines, so it has been negative with respect to the market breadth. But let's take a look at some of the key losers in today's day of trade. So we have seen weakness in Edelweiss Financial Services, as you can see here, declining by 5.8%, followed by JP Power and Intellect Design Arena, followed by Indian Bank, which has also lost out as much as 4.2%, along with Balkrishna Industries. Ramco Cements and Ramco Systems, on the other hand, has gained as much as 14.2%, followed by Swan Energy continuing to gain up as much as 5.2%. Kansai Nerolac and Biocon, followed by Jammu and Kashmir Bank as well, gaining nearly 4%. So, well, it has been a day of losses, but they're not substantial. And I suspect, based on the variables that we're seeing right now, the underlying variables, we could see some more consolidation continuing and moving into the next week. But that is all that we have for now. But I suggest that you guys stay tuned in, because we are going to be in conversation with S. Narain, the Chief Investment Officer of ICICI Prudential AMC, and who will be taking us through all the challenges that we may face in 2017. So I suggest that you guys stay put and stay tuned in. We'll be back in just a few minutes.